All right, today we're going to dive into something really fascinating. It's a piece of modern digital art, a 2025 year in review from a creator named James Ray. We're going to break down his work, his process, and what it tells us about his pretty complex relationship with his audience, especially in this new age of AI. And we're going to start with this line right from the creator's own notes that tells you pretty much everything you need to know. It's so personal, right? A little bit chaotic. And it just shows that, for him, the messy process is just as important as the polished final product. This really sets the stage for what is a deeply self-aware piece of art.
So to really get what he was doing here, we have to start where he did, with his notes. He actually felt these were better source material than the final video itself. Why? Because they don't just describe the script, they detail the specific AI-generated visuals that bring the whole thing to life.
Okay, so here's the basic setup. Our creator, James Ray, he makes these spoken word monologues, and he lays them over visuals that he generates with AI tools. Things like OpenAI and Runway. These are platforms that can take a simple text prompt and turn it into these really complex images and video clips. And the whole point of this piece, it's him looking back on his 2025. It's basically a digital artistic diary.
And a core tension of the whole piece just pops right out in his notes. He admits he has a pretty small viewer base, but what gets to him isn't the number of people watching, it's the silence. This quote, "Silence can be deafening." Wow. That becomes the emotional engine that drives this entire monologue.
So, in the monologue itself, we really see how this all plays out. James frames his year as the story of two conflicting selves, what's going on in his inner world versus his outer persona.
And this just illustrates that conflict perfectly. On the one hand, you've got the external view. He kind of jokes that it was just another year of him saying wise and extremely stupid things. But on the other hand, the internal reality? A period of deep existential turmoil. You see, he's not just showing us what happened, he's communicating how it felt.
So how do you even show that kind of turmoil? Well, he doesn't just say it, he visualizes it. He uses AI to create this incredibly powerful scene, his own avatar but as Superman, being comforted by General Zod of all people. It's such a striking metaphor for feeling powerful enough to change the world, but at the same time feeling incredibly vulnerable.
But the year wasn't all turmoil. Professionally, it was a year of huge growth and him really mastering his tools. And this is where we start to see the artist's pride in his craft really begin to shine through. You can just feel the confidence in this line. He says, "I have the skill in AI to bring almost anything to life." And that's not a boast, It's like a declaration of artistic independence. He now has the power to make any thought, any dream, totally visible. And this wasn't just talk. Here are the concrete results of that skill. Multiple publications, a couple of self-published books, and mastering some really sophisticated AI platforms. This just highlights the central paradox of his year. While he's wrestling with all this existential dread, he was also being incredibly productive and successful, all on his own terms.
He ends up developing this entire visual language using these AI characters. His existential turmoil becomes Superman on an overpass. A moment of sadness is shown as Wonder Woman being consoled by Storm. And that deep need for validation, he literally visualizes an auditorium full of his own AI constructs applauding him. He's building the audience he craves.
And all of this brings us to the emotional peak of the whole piece. After showing us all his triumphs and all his struggles, he turns directly to his small, silent audience, and he just makes a plea. He frames it as a single, simple task, something that would cost his audience absolutely nothing, but would mean everything to him. So, after all this complex visual storytelling, what is the one thing he actually asks for? That's it, just one word: speak. He strips away all the complexity of AI and digital platforms and just boils his need down to the single, fundamental human action. And here's why that simple request is so profound. He needs to know his audience is real. In a world where he can generate an entire auditorium of fans with a simple AI prompt, this terrifying question comes up. Is anyone actually out there? Or is he just shouting into a void that he himself created?
Okay, so just when you think you finally grasped the emotional core of the piece, it gets weird. Like really weird. The monologue ends and we get this bizarre, completely unexpected epilogue featuring an alien.
Well, let's just break this down for a second. An alien named Viknox shows up, and right away he's casually insulting all of humanity. But then he says he's been picking up the creator's transmissions and finds them so interesting that it's worth a personal visit. So what is going on here?
Well, there are a few ways you could interpret this. Is Viknok a metaphor for the creator's own feelings of alienation? Or maybe it's just a cheeky sequel hook? Or, and this is the ultimate meta twist, is the alien just his final AI construct, the one audience member who finally speaks back? The piece never tells us, which just leaves us to wonder.
So if we zoom out, what does this story really tell us? It's so much more than one person's review of his year. It's really a snapshot of the entire modern creative experience.
This sums it all up perfectly. The creator's goal is twofold: self-expression and human connection. His tool, AI, is incredibly powerful for the expression part, but the central challenge, the real hurdle, remains: overcoming that audience silence to actually achieve the connection.
I mean, he's clearly achieved mastery in creation, and he's found validation through his published work. But that third bar, connection, that's the unresolved issue. It's the one thing he has the least control over, and it seems the one that matters the most. What James Ray's monologue really suggests is that as our tools for creation become almost godlike, the one thing we can't just generate is genuine human feedback. In an economy of infinite content, authentic engagement isn't just a nice-to-have anymore. It becomes the most valuable resource of all. And this all leaves us with a final, really crucial question. As that line between the artist and the algorithm gets blurrier and blurrier, who are we even creating for? Is it for other people? Is it for ourselves? Or is it for the intelligent constructs we build just to keep us company in the silence? It's a question every single creator in the digital age is going to have to face.